Hey guys, Pedro here to tell you about the latest from Mono Inc. Darkness, out August 15th on No Cut. The album has 12 tracks, 47 minutes in length, and this is the band's 13th full-length studio album. They are a German goth rock metal band. When it comes to the design of this record, it's hard to find an album with these characteristics that would feel or sound better than this one does. The album is extremely dynamic, very fluid, super engaging from beginning to end. It's an album with 12 songs and 47 minutes, so you have to be conscious of that, and you have to create an experience that doesn't allow for patterns to develop, or at least it doesn't allow for patterns to be easily detected by the listener, which makes the album feel fresh at every single turn and not necessarily giving you the sense that you've heard these songs before. I think this is really important. The way they created this sort of experience is not just with sound, it's just not a sonic movement or a sonic change from track to track. They did it also by changing the vocal approach, the backing vocals, more, less, changing if the song is in English or if the song is in German. All of these nuances allow for the album to feel like an absolute roller coaster ride from beginning to end, because first time you go through it, you're not really sure what's coming around the corner. After you listen to the album and you re-engage with the record, you're going to find that the album just flows perfectly with the right ebbs and flows, with the right momentums changing from song to song, in order for the album, while being familiar to the listener at that point, to not sound repetitive at all. I love this design. I feel like it enhances the quality of the individual songs while making the album overall feel extremely complete. As far as the sound goes, this album is definitely a goth rock metal album anthem style record from top to bottom. There's a lot of different textures, there are a lot of different elements, but overall is a very rich and big sounding record. It's a record that definitely depends heavily on the symphonic side of the band and on how the orchestral pieces match everything else that's happening around them. I didn't feel overtaken by it. It's not an album where the symphonic side of their sound overshadows everything else and it becomes very difficult to see the impact that the other elements are having. This album doesn't do that because there's too many dynamics, there's too many changes from song to song, and every single element will get its own time and its own piece in order to showcase and leave a seed in the memory of the listener. So when you're listening to these songs, you're going to find all of these breadcrumbs throughout the entire record, with a great production behind it that allows the album to be incredibly rich, to be incredibly textured, to have a nice footprint. Like, this album sounds massive at times, almost like the sound has no borders. It just keeps expanding and at times contracting, specifically when they want to create a different mood, a different atmosphere, adding a colder energy to the tracks or a darker energy to the tracks instead of the brightness that overall really radiates throughout this entire album. You're gonna see those lateral movements of the record pushing more acoustic guitars or pianos into the forefront, allowing that to be the backdrop of an incredible vocal performance that decreases the size of the song but impacts the songs in a more emotional way, if you will, and then allowing those same tracks to then expand with massive choruses sounding really big, with the vocals with a lot of layers behind them. This is an album that sonically just has a ton of life and a ton of energy, mixing darkness with brightness in a very unique way, in a very subtle way that makes everything coexist perfectly with great harmony. But overall, it's about how big the record sounds, how big the record feels. This album has that massive presence to it. Outside of the orchestral elements and the symphonic elements of the record, I really enjoyed the drum sound on this album. I felt like it was full, it added energy, it helped as well with a little bit of heaviness, putting a little bit more metal into this goth rock album. I thought that was an important element, not the only element that does that, but an important one, because the guitars at times also sound a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker, a little bit chunkier, but also bringing great melodies into the forefront, not depending just on one single element for those melodies. The guitars, very textured as well, very rich with acoustic elements, heavier elements, more melodic elements. So it's an album that has so much to offer sonically, and then using that symphonic backdrop or spinal cord connecting everything else to it gives this record a sense of consistency sonically, but at the same time sounding very versatile and very diverse. Once you come into the vocals, you're going to find this album to have warmth, to have coldness, depending on the track, depending on the sonic backdrop of the song. But I think the most important aspect of the vocals on this record is that they sound with the same level of emotion, with the same level of atmosphere, regardless if the song is in English or German. I also really enjoy the female backing vocals that the record has. It added, on one hand, it added to the symphonic aspect of the sound, and on the other hand, it really helped the size and the impact that the vocals could have on the size of the songs, considering how big they get from a musical standpoint. So vocally, this album is really interesting. I love the dynamics that it has. I love the darkness that it carries, and definitely really enjoyed that aspect of having two very predominant styles coexisting with one another, helping the size and helping really define these songs a lot better, making this just another amazing record by Mono Inc. 13th album, and they're still putting out incredible bangers. This one is just a fun goth rock metal album top to bottom. If you're a fan of that genre, this album is a must because it checks all the boxes. Adding the symphonic elements into that goth rock is just a part of Mono Inc. So if you're a fan of the band, that element is not going to phase you. If you're not a fan of the band, you're discovering them through this record. I think this album does a great job mixing those elements in without allowing them to dominate the overall sonic landscape. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I'm starting off with a ballad, Fly. To me, this is a ballad. It starts off really stripped down, just acoustic guitar and vocals, sounding very cold, very cold. There's a very cold feel as this song opens up. Beautiful, heartfelt, but cold. Once you get into the chorus is more theatrical, more cinematic, and that's where the song soars. The song really levitates, really elevates itself from where it was before. Then when you move into the second chorus, the song gains volume, it gains size, the guitars gain a bigger impact, but the interesting element is they kept the acoustic guitar melody in the backdrop as a layer underneath all of the size, all of the volume that the track carries around. It's a song that stays really well connected because of how that acoustic element stay there from the beginning all the way through. So having that in the backdrop, even if it faints it out, is still an important piece that allows the song to feel that it has a sense of continuity to it. It's not just pieces put together, but rather something that has a beginning, middle, and end. I love the chorus. The chorus on this track is the pinnacle of the song. Incredible vocal performance. A lot warmer in the chorus than outside the chorus. I felt like it was colder as it starts, but then it warms up as it goes along. But a great track. For me, this is a ballad, but it's a ballad with a lot of meat on the bone. Then we have The Dark Side of the Sun. This song with a very similar vocal delivery, feeling very different. It feels a lot warmer because this one has a piano backdrop as the song develops, and that piano backdrop allows the vocals to sound warmer versus that more cold aspect that the piano gives, almost like icicles as far as those piano notes, and then the vocals sound a lot warmer because of it. The female backing vocals on this track is really important because it adds warmth to where the vocals sound a little bit colder, and this also adds sizes and layers to the overall vocal performance, allowing the sound to explode at times, giving the drums and guitars a little bit more space, more room, making the song bigger, making the song heavier. A track that has this incredible sense of growth as it develops through sound and through the vocal performance, really expanding with every single turn, and overall becoming a very rich song all around. Last but definitely not least, We Were Young. Great rock song. This is a rock song at heart. It's like an arena rock track with great drums, great guitars, allowing for the orchestral elements of the track to give the song a little bit more size, to fill in that arena, if you will. But at its core, it's really a rock song with great guitar sound that really drives the track, great drums that match up that same energy, that same size, and then an incredible vocal performance throughout. I really enjoy the vocals on this track. I enjoy the backing vocals on this track, the dynamic between the two, really helping add some size and some volume to those vocals to match the overall arena energy that the sound of this track puts forward. This is it, Mono Inc. with Darkness, out August 15th. Hit me up in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.